Affairs Committee Chair for the Shawnee Chamber of Commerce. I'm also the Chair-elect for the Shawnee Chamber. It's my privilege to serve as today's moderator. And I would let you know, and we'll remind you later, but today's events are being recorded and will be available on the website www.votejoco.com. So we'll make that reminder a little bit later as well. On behalf of today's forum sponsor, the Johnson County Public Policy Council, it's made up of 10 chambers of commerce throughout Johnson County and representing Johnson County. I'd like to welcome you to today's forum. Technology stuff first. If you have any device on you that rings, chimes, plays your school fight song or anything like that, please silence it for the duration of this meeting. And we'd like to get right underway and introduce the candidates. It's my pleasure to introduce them. We will go through these in alphabetical order. First is Gerald Cook. Mr. Cook has served as president of the Overland Park Convention and Visitors Bureau since 1996. He's a past chairman of the Overland Park Chamber of Commerce and has extensive experience in private business, including human resources, sales, marketing, and operations. Jerry Cook has served public school districts in North Dakota, Minnesota, and Missouri. He's devoted over 20 years to public education as an elementary teacher, an elementary school principal, director of elementary education, and superintendent of schools. He was selected North Dakota's Outstanding Young Educator in 1971. He holds a bachelor's degree from Morehead State University, a master's degree from the University of North Dakota, and a doctorate in educational administration from the University of Wyoming. He serves on the Overland Park Chamber of Commerce Board and is a trustee for Johnson County Community College. Dr. Cook has 2 adult daughters and 4 grandchildren. He and his wife Sharon live in Overland Park. Lee Cross is a lifelong Kansan and a 5th generation of his family to live in Johnson County. He is a 2002 graduate of the Dole Institute of Politics at the University of Kansas, and in 2007 graduated from the UMKC Law School in Kansas City. He has been in private practice focusing on civil litigation, agricultural law, and family law. In 2010, Lee formed the Cross Law Firm, LLC, and continues to own and operate his own business. He is a member of the Kansas Association for Justice, the Kansas Bar Association, the Kansas City Metropolitan Bar Association, and the Johnson County Bar Association, as well as the Northeast Johnson County Chamber of Commerce. He's an active member of his community, and he and his family attend Asbury United Methodist Church in Prairie Village, where he serves in the leadership team, on the Staff Parish Relations Committee, and the Church and Society Committees. Lee and his wife Jennifer have 1 daughter, Maria, and they live in Overland Park. Bob Drummond. Dr. Bob Drummond has been president and CEO of Kids TLC, that was formerly TLC for Children and Families, in Olathe, Kansas, since 2001. Prior to that, he served for 30 years at Mid-America Nazarene University, most of that time as a professor and an administrator. Bob received his Doctor of Education in Counseling Psychology, Higher Education Administration from Kansas University, and completed postdoctoral education at Harvard University in leadership and has taught leadership principles for 15 years. Bob has served on many community and church boards and communities, including the Olathe School Board, the Johnson County Community College Board of Trustees, United Way of Greater Kansas City Board of Trustees. Bob is also an author and a speaker, as well as a husband, father, and grandfather. Melody Rayl. Melody is an incumbent candidate who has served the Johnson County Community College Board of Trustees since her appointment in 2008, and she currently serves as chair of the board. In her professional life, Melody is a veteran of the U.S. Army and has served 20 years as a law enforcement officer in Johnson County, currently working as an attorney specializing in commercial litigation. Melody lives in Olathe and has lived in Johnson County for over 25 years. She has 3 children who have attended Johnson County schools. Richard Schroder was born in Topeka, Kansas. He received a bachelor degree in biology at Washburn University and a master's degree in biology from Fort Hays State. He received an ADS in nursing from Johnson County Community College in 1991. Richard joined the U.S. Army in June 1968. He served 3.5 years on active duty with one tour in Vietnam as a medic. He was awarded the Combat Medical Badge and Bronze Star. He retired in 1995 as a Master Sergeant with 26 years of service. Mr. Schroder worked as a registered nurse for 18 years in med-surg, plastic surgery, psychiatric, long-term care, and oncology nursing. He taught certified nurses aides classes at Johnson County Community College from 2003 to 2009, and is a member of the VFW, the American Legion, Masons, Civil Air Patrol, Commemorative Air Force, is the past president of Kansas Academy of Science, and member of the Board of Directors for Johnson County Community College's Brown and Gold Club. He and his wife Patricia have been married for 43 years. They have 2 sons, William and Stephen, 4 grandchildren, and 1 dog. Stephanie Sharp. Trustee Stephanie Sharp is seeking her 2nd term on the Johnson County Community College Board following 3 terms in the Kansas House of Representatives. Stephanie is a small businesswoman who owns Sharp Connections, LLC, where she spends her days translating politics into English, which is indeed a full-time job, for state and local elected officials and candidates. So welcome to you all. Today's format will include a 3-minute opening statement by each candidate, followed by a prepared question and answer period during which each candidate will have 1.5 minutes to respond, followed at the end by a 1.5-minute closing statement. During the Q&A, candidates will all answer the same questions. Questions have been prepared in advance by chamber staff based on input from chamber members, but have not been shared with the candidates. There will be no follow-up or audience questions. Candidates have drawn numbers in advance to determine speaking order, and that order will rotate throughout the program. And the order is 1 through 6, beginning with Stephanie Sharp. So with that, let's begin with opening statements. Stephanie.
Thank you, David. I appreciate the time everyone took to come here today. I'll give a little bit more background about me. I am originally from Garden City, Kansas, and went to college at Southwestern College in Winfield, and got my bachelor's in philosophy and international politics and a BA in French, but don't ask me to speak it right now. I then went to Washington, D.C. and worked on Capitol Hill for a couple of years doing defense and national security in the U.S. Senate while I was going to graduate school at George Washington University, where I received a Master's of Arts in International Affairs. I soon realized that I could build a career anywhere, but there was no place quite like home, and figuratively and almost literally clicked my heels and came back to Kansas. Started lobbying for the American Cancer Society. Spent a couple of years doing that and was recruited to run for the House in 2002. I was 27 years old and apparently had sucker written on my head in ink, in invisible ink. So I went ahead and ran, and I won, was elected 3 times, and about halfway through my 3rd term, I wanted to do some other things professionally and personally, and left the House and worked for Community America Credit Union and KU Medical Center, doing community relations with them, and had a little girl. So she is 4 now, and some folks came to me in 2009. I'd been retired from the House a couple of months, and some people came and said, you know, we really think that you should get involved with the college again. I had been involved with the community college, obviously, as a state representative, and was passionate about higher education, passionate about education as in total, and workforce development in our community. And so I did indeed run for the community college in 2009 and won, and have loved serving in this capacity. The community college is obviously a gem, we've all heard that, but our role as a board is really to make it not a hidden gem, to make sure that it is the place to go. It is the choice, the first choice of students, and that's what we're working on right now. We have a fantastic board. Anyone that you talk to at the community college will tell you this is the best board that we have seen in decades. We work together, but we ask challenging questions. We are not a rubber stamp board, but we work quite well together and bring an amazing group of talents and skills to the board. We have a retired police officer. Are you retired? Is that the official term? Who is now an attorney. She brings amazing skills and inner knowledge of as being a JCCC faculty. Bob and Jerry both bring extensive experience in the business community in nonprofit and educational administration management. The way that we work together is perfect, and I would appreciate your support on April 2nd. Thank you.
Thank you. Lee.
My name is Lee Cross. I'm an attorney who lives in Overland Park, and I office up in Westwood, Kansas. And I decided to run for the college because my entire family went here. And I similarly had some folks approach me about running a few months ago, and was delighted because my father literally went here and got the credits and the courses that he needed to get into the KU School of Engineering when I was a child. And my mother went to the LPN program. And I have 3 little brothers, 2 of which, when they got out of the Marines after the war in Iraq, came here. In fact, moved back to Overland Park instead of Lawrence, from Lawrence, and went here because tuition was so affordable. I went to KU, worked in the Dole Institute of Politics, graduated from there. I worked for Derek Schmidt in the Senate when he was a freshman senator. And then I had the pleasure to actually work alongside Stephanie during the 2002 summer when David Adkins challenged Bill Klein. And at that point I actually decided to switch parties. I worked in 2002 for the Kansas Coordinated Campaign and Kathleen Civilians, which was a tremendous experience. I went on to law school at UMKC. I was an articles editor at the Urban Lawyer, and I was in private practice for 3 years doing complex litigation. Catastrophic injury and environmental devastation was the focus of that firm's practice. Had my own for 3 years. I'm a member of the Northeast Johnson County Chamber. I am a small business owner. I do employ people. I appreciate all of you being here today. I appreciate the Chamber and the Committee on Public Policy hosting us. I greatly appreciate it. I think the college is absolutely an economic engine that we must maintain and keep funded properly. There have been tremendous attacks in Topeka, and there's tremendous issues that face this board and face this college, and there is a historic litany of people that have served on this board. Virginia Krebs, Dennis Moore, just to name a couple. And so there is any number of things that we could work to improve upon, starting with funding. The cost of tuition has gone up dramatically. I'm honored that the Kansas City Star has endorsed my campaign, among many, many other people who have endorsed my campaign. And so we think that there is a tremendous amount of improvement that this board can make. The faculty obviously has endorsed me, as well as 3 other people sitting up here. I feel in part because there is any number of things that could be improved upon with respect to what the faculty is worried about, starting chief of which would be attracting and keeping talent at the university, at the college, so that we can have better student retention rates and better able to educate a workforce that our small businesses need. So with that, I welcome your questions, and I'd be happy to entertain any questions here today, and thank you for being here.
Thank you. Candidate Schroder.
Yes, my name is Rich Schroder, and I'd like to first of all thank the Johnson County Public Policy Council for sponsoring this event, and secondly, for the audience, especially my friend Angelo back there, I just spotted, for attending today, because it indicates that you're interested in this very important issue. As was said, I've been a long-time a long-time resident of Johnson County, spending both 38 years of the last 38 years in Johnson County, and also an alum of Johnson County Community College, and as a employee of Johnson County as an instructor. So my reasons for joining are running for Johnson County Community College Board of Trustees is I have had a long lifetime affection or love affair with education. So I would like to see the school, as it is a gym, keep its reputation and its fine educational qualities. However, there are some things that I am concerned about. What I would consider poor decisions by the board, expensive, non-necessary items that were approved by the board. And for that reason, I would like to push the board toward elimination of those expensive, non-necessary items, improve the staff as far as the students are, I mean, not the students, but the faculty, improve the conditions that the faculty are operating under. The adjunct faculty makes up approximately 70% of the faculty out there, and they have no say-so or very little say-so in any activities or any decisions made for the education or curriculum. It's all left to the faculty association made up of full-time faculty members. So I'd like to see that improved. And finally, I want to see a more fiscal responsibility, again, like I was saying, eliminate a lot of the wasteful spending that I do see on the campus. Thank you.
Good afternoon, and thank you for being here. I know that you're busy with lots of activities in your own business, and it's important that you're here. I also, like the rest, would like to thank the Johnson County Public Policy for hosting this event. I believe that you're all here because you're interested in the college, and I really want to thank all the candidates for being here because I really believe it's important for the community and its citizens to understand who they're electing and why they're electing those people. As indicated in the opening remarks, I'm from northern Minnesota. I was an elementary teacher in Grand Forks, North Dakota. We were in a pilot program at that time in team teaching, individualized instruction. Ron Boomersbach and I learned a lot from sixth graders. We had about 80 sixth graders in our class every year with a teacher aide. And we're a pilot project in the country and a number of visitors from throughout America and Canada on this notion of individualized instruction. I was blessed to have a set of parents that believed in education. My father's proudest moment was winning the county spelling contest when he was in the 8th grade. But his father thought it was more important for him to walk behind a plow than go to school, so he made him quit school at the end of the 8th grade. But my father could outspell me, even though I've had the opportunity to go to school for several years. My father was a great speller. My mother, blue-collar worker as well, but they saved every dime they could to allow me to go to college and get an education. And so I went to Morehead State University and became an elementary education teacher. I went to the University of North Dakota to get my master's degree in elementary education because somebody came along and said, Jerry, you need to be in charge of a building of teachers rather than a classroom of students. And later in life, another person came along and said, you need to get your doctorate because you need to be in charge of a school district. So I've been blessed to have people believe in me to lead the educational effort. I believe teaching and learning are imperative. I believe teaching and learning are lifelong. I believe that Johnson County Community College is one of the best in the nation, not by the Board of Trustees definition, but by our benchmark colleges that we work with in the nation, by other outside sources that claim Johnson County Community College to be among the best. It's grown with Johnson County. It's made significant contributions to workforce development and the economic impact of this county, and I want to see that continue. I'm finishing my first 4-year term, and like learning a lot from 6th graders, I've learned a lot in this first 4 years with this board, and we're moving in the right direction. A 94% community approval rating wasn't by mistake that the Overland Park Chamber conducted for the county, and we want to see that continue. Thank you. I'd be happy to respond to your questions.
Thank you. Candidate Drummond.
Thank you very much to the council for bringing all of us together and all of you, and I'm just really thrilled that we're not up against KU or Wichita State. Otherwise, it would be just us and the cameras here probably. So we appreciate you turning out tonight. We've been this afternoon. We've been in Johnson County for 41 years. We moved here in 1971 to be part of Mid-American Nazarene University, and we have had the opportunity to watch Johnson County Community College grow from a very, very small hopeful college to one that is one of the top 10, maybe top 5 in the entire nation. Our facilities, our faculty, our citizens have made that happen. And part of my role as a trustee is to continue that progression in the days ahead. I'm very fortunate in that I have had the opportunity to spend 22 years on public boards, 18 years on the Board of Education in Olathe, serving as president several terms and vice president several terms, and then spending the last 3.5 years as a member of the Board of Trustees here. I spent 35 years on nonprofit boards of all kinds, from United Way of Greater Kansas City to the Children's Alliance of Topeka to just ad infinitum boards, which has given me great experiences and opportunity to watch how boards should operate and how boards should not operate. And so I've been able to learn that across the many, many years. Professionally, as you've heard about me, I've served as a university professor and administrator for 30 years. I've had the opportunity to author a couple books, do a lot of speaking engagements across the years, and I've also had the privilege to do some postdoctoral work in leadership at Harvard University several years ago. But really, my proudest achievement, I think, is to be married to the same woman for 42.5 years. And we have been blessed with 2 sons and now 5 grandchildren, 3 of which are waiting for me as we speak. So we will not speak long, and hope they don't speak long, and I'll have dinner with them later on tonight, and we're really pleased about that. In the past 3.5 years as a trustee, my colleagues and myself have been able to achieve some significant things. We have the highest accreditation you can receive as a community college. We've had the highest enrollment ever during our tenure. We've opened a world-class health education center in Olathe. We're in the process of opening a world-class culinary center. We've paid off a bond issue early and have saved the taxpayers $750,000. We've been able to make major investments in our IT infrastructure, and we've been able to maintain the facilities that people all across the country envy. We've also been able to initiate a campus-wide energy program that eventually will save us hundreds of thousands of dollars across the next several years. And we are only one of 2 community colleges in America to have a Standard & Poor's AAA bond rating. So we are thrilled with what we've accomplished, but as you may know, there are many things for us to accomplish. Thank you very much. And Rayl.
Thank you, David. Thanks to all of you for taking time out of your busy day to come and listen to us speak. I really appreciate that. I know that we all have things that are waiting for us on our desks or at home that we need to get to, so I appreciate that. And thank you to the Public Policy Council for having us. I think we are, as individuals, a reflection of where we come from. And so I wanted to just kind of briefly talk to you a little bit about where I come from so that you'll understand my perspective as a member of the board. I grew up in rural Ohio, and in our family, no one had ever gone to college, and education was not something that was highly regarded as a way to make a living. My father was a blue-collar worker, and my mother took care of the house, and that's the way things had always been in our family and the way things were supposed to be. And so when I graduated from high school, I enlisted in the Army. That was my way to try to make a better life, a different life, to do something different from what my parents had done. I spent 6 years living overseas on active duty in the Army, and I learned a great deal about differences, diversity, things that make countries great, things that make countries not so great. And I came back to this country armed with that information, and also the knowledge that if I wanted to make a better life for myself and give back to my community, I needed to get an education. For me, that education started at Johnson County Community College. And I was fortunate enough to be hired as a police officer for the Leawood Police Department. I attended the Johnson County Regional Police Academy, and I started attending classes there to get my associate's degree. I now have an associate's degree from Johnson County Community College. I have a bachelor's degree from Park University. I have a master's degree from Washburn University. And I have a JD from the University of Missouri at Kansas City. Education has changed my life, and I value education tremendously as a result of that. My ties to Johnson County Community College didn't stop when I graduated from there. However, I had the distinct privilege of returning there as a faculty member at the Police Academy, and eventually as a full-time faculty member in the Administration of Justice program. While I was attending law school, I was teaching at the college. I began my career as an attorney and continued teaching as an adjunct faculty member at Johnson County Community College when an opening came up on the board vacated by longtime trustee Virginia Krebs. I saw it as an opportunity to remain committed to the college, to give back to my community, and to do my part to help keep Johnson County Community College really, truly one of the finest colleges in the country. And so that tells you a little bit about my perspective, and I look forward to answering the questions as they come up and giving you a little more information about how I view the issues that we will be confronting as an institution. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As I mentioned, all the candidates will answer the same question, all regarding JCCC-related topics. Candidates do not know the questions, and we will go in rotation. Each candidate will have 1.5 minutes to respond, and the speaking order will begin with candidate Cross. First question. The college has been recognized nationally as a leader for its entrepreneurial vision. What experience do you bring to the board to ensure Johnson County Community College remains on the cutting edge?
Well, the experience I bring is as a business owner. I've run my own law firm for nearly 3 years. I've employed a small staff, contracted out other work that I couldn't get to, and been deeply concerned as someone who does a combination of civil litigation and domestic cases, the status of the economy and how well it's doing, because depending upon how much money people have, it depends upon whether or not they come hire me. So watching that, watching all the economic indicators say when a tax cut expires, and when there's economic uncertainty with sequester and other issues, I mean, that greatly impacts the success of my firm. So when there are cuts to education that are being made, both in K through 12 and to higher ed, that deeply concerns me, because if people are going to be losing otherwise disposable income that they would come hire an attorney for, they have to spend that on higher education. They have to spend it on either tuition increases, they have to spend it on higher taxes when property taxes go up, they have to spend it on transportation costs, gas costs. So my experience as a small businessman will absolutely help me be able to manage the assets and resources of the college. And then when you're a small business, I mean, you sort of do it all. You manage the marketing, you do the work, and we need to be thinking outside of the box in terms of how we get revenue into our school to keep it the economic engine that it needs to be.
Thank you. Candidate Schroder, would you like the question repeated?
No. While I was attending attending Johnson County Community College, I took a number of their entrepreneurial classes. As a result of that, I started my own business. That business is now kind of in slow motion. However, I just did the other day send in my annual report to the Secretary of State in regards to that business. I am in favor of the entrepreneurial classes and also the relationships that the school maintains with the business world to increase the number of entrepreneurial businesses getting started, and also helping to support local small businesses particularly. However, it is important that the school pays particular attention to those courses that are necessary for the other businesses as well. I wholeheartedly, if I'm elected to the board, I will continue to support that partnership between the business world and the college. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Cook, would you like to
I believe the question is, what would I do to encourage the entrepreneurial spirit? I would listen. I would understand the needs of the county. I indicated in my opening remarks that the county and the college have grown together. There's been a symbiotic relationship. The college plays a significant role in workforce development. It's a great question, and most recently the college received 2 grants one from the Gates Foundation and one from the Kauffman Foundation for Innovative and Entrepreneurial Studies. The Kauffman grant places Johnson County Community College as one of 3 colleges in the country to develop a pilot project for entrepreneurship. So by listening and understanding and help creating a culture, a creative culture, to move the college with its business partners in the same direction as it meets the community needs is what I would be about. Teaching and learning are lifelong gifts, and how we learn and apply the resources we have to continue to position Johnson County Community College as a leader in the nation is imperative. Thank you.
Thank you, Candidate Drummond. Thank you. I think a full response to the question begins with the hiring of the right president. As many of you know, our president is retiring, and the president sets the pace for the college, and he sets the pace for the direction we're going to a great extent, and to make sure that we hire the right president for our college at this period of time is absolutely essential. Secondly, I think Johnson County Community College is a reflection of the spirit of our county. And our county is what it is today because we have a very strong spirit of work and ethic and trying to create new business and develop and to grow. And Johnson County Community College has to continue that spirit. We are the major workforce creator for the county. We have to continue that. We have to maintain that. We have to enhance that. We have to be in touch with the county workforce. We have to be in touch with the jobs that are necessary for our businesses to grow and to be fostered and to develop across a period of years. And we have to provide the right staffing for all those businesses. We have done an exceedingly good job at maintaining relationships with our businesses in Johnson County. We need to grow on that and develop that and enhance that. When you put all those pieces together, we are the crown jewel of Johnson County, and that's because we have responded to the needs in our county, and we continue to develop programs that help to develop the county as it is at this point.
Thank you, David. You know, the risk of being toward the end is that you can begin to sound a little bit redundant, but I will tell you that in my mind, the role of a governing body and a leader is to create an environment for success. And I would echo what my colleague, Dr. Drummond, has said. I think the first thing we have to accomplish is to hire the right president to take our college into the next decade. And I'm currently chairing the search committee that's looking for the person to fill that role, and I'm confident that we're going to be able to accomplish that. That being said, I believe that listening to our internal stakeholders and our external stakeholders is absolutely the key to making sure that we remain innovative and entrepreneurial in the way we do things. We have an incredibly talented faculty at Johnson County Community College, and we can learn a lot from them every day about what we need to do. And then we look out into the community and we listen to our business leaders about what they need, what's going on in the business world that we can help with, that needs that we can fill, and implement that as well. Third, we need to collaborate with those institutions around the country who are absolutely the best of the best. There is an organization called the League for Innovation Schools, and just a couple of weeks ago I had the opportunity to attend a retreat of the board of those schools and exchange ideas over a period of 2 days. And those are the sorts of things we need to continue doing.
Thank you.
Thank you. The question was about how to maintain and grow our entrepreneurial vision, and I love this question, and I hate being last. But as somebody who's self-employed and has my own business, I'm actually a product of the Kansas Small Business Development Center at the community college. And many of you have visited the center or know people who have started businesses as a result of their work, and their ability to take people with an idea, show them how to implement, how to market, how to do basic things like run your QuickBooks, how provide some basic contract language for hiring out work, for all these different things that you need to know. that no one tells you when you decide to start a business. I think that those kinds of things, we continue to get the Small Business Administration grants, the partnerships with Gates, the partnerships with Kauffman are amazing. We need to continue to look for ways to be creative in those opportunities through the SBDC, but also a good example is we recently hosted author Clifton Talbert, who is working with the Kauffman Foundation. He's the author of Who Owns the Ice House, an amazing story about entrepreneurship in the earlier part of last century. And through programs like that, through the Emerging Businesses Program, through SBDC, we're doing a good job of that, and the people that we serve through the SBDC really help with that vision. They're the ones that come in and have the amazing ideas, have the next stage research, and our ability to work with them and help them be successful will continue that vision.
Thank you. Candidate Schroder will be the first responder to the second question. I like this question. If elected, what would your top 3 agenda items be as you work towards the betterment of the college and the education it provides?
My first objective, if elected, would be to continue the growth of the college by eliminating a lot of the excess wasteful spending that I see going on by the board. The examples would be things like the recent logo change. I'm still trying to figure out what that meant. Even the school newspaper came out against it. And also another recent movement is a replacement of the janitorial service by an outsourcing. And this is going to be more expensive than if we kept what we already had. The second thing I would like to do is see a better encouragement of the adjunct faculty, see that they are treated more fairly and also more equitably in the area of keeping their, having their opinion toward the various educational issues. And the final one would be for more fiscal responsibility and transparency of the board toward the taxpayers as well as toward the students and staff. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Cook.
Number 1, selection of the new president. Trustee Drummond outlined the significance of that. I believe that's the most important element the board will be involved in selecting and working with that new president going forward. Secondly, I would provide leadership to balance sources of revenue to appropriately fund the college and its numerous programs of teaching, learning, excellence. And when I talk about a balanced source of funding, we seem to put a lot of emphasis on what happens at the federal level and what happens at Topeka and what happens with property assessed valuations and where our mill levy goes. And we seem to be concerned about tuition costs. I would look at a balanced approach to make sure that if any one of those gets out of kilter, that the community is aware of the information on what decisions we need to make if we want to continue that teaching and excellence. And the third is to promote a sustainable culture for teaching and learning excellence. This college is known across the country as one of the finest in the nation. That has to do with the culture for teaching and learning excellence, and that's where I put my emphasis. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Drummond.
Okay, thank you very much. I won't say much about what I just said a few minutes ago, but making sure that we hire the right president, which I actually probably done before the next board takes a seat, but to be able to assist that president to become a premier president in all the community colleges of America. Secondly, as you all know, we have been going through some very challenging economic times. We've managed to navigate through those times very successfully. As you all know, those times are not over. There are more challenges ahead of us, and those challenges can directly affect what Dr. Cook has been talking about, teaching and learning. For us to hire the best faculty, sustain the best faculty, get the best results in the classroom, we need to properly compensate our faculty. And going through difficult economic times is a constraint on that, so we need to be able to do the very best we can and to increase that over a period of the next few years. That ties into the third piece, and that is we have created an initiative in the last couple of years where we have spent extensive time in Topeka advocating for community colleges, in particular advocating for our community college, and we spent a lot of time in Washington, D.C. doing the very same thing. There are a lot of emphasis right now on community colleges. We want to be able to ride that bandwagon, to attract the best faculty, the funding that goes along with that, and to continue to find external funding to help us do what we're called here to do. Thank you. Candidate Rayl, your time.
Thank you, David. I want to assure you first that we did not have these questions ahead of time and did not have an opportunity to rehearse our answers. That being said, I think number one on my list is to make sure that we select the right president to lead our college. I agree with Dr. Drummond. I think that selection will be made before the current board leaves office. However, there will be a transition period, and we will need to take the laboring oar in making sure that our president is able to assume the helm of the college and carry out his duties and hopefully make it as seamless as possible as we can for the institution. Number two on my list is to continue the responsible fiscal management of the institution that we've undertaken over the past 4 or 5 years. Certainly the past several years have been characterized by an economic downturn that we haven't seen the likes of in decades. And I believe the college has done an excellent job in looking at both sides of the ledger, both our expenditures and our revenue, to make sure that we are A, taking good care of the taxpayers' dollars, and B, making sure that we're not having a detrimental impact on teaching and learning at the college. The third thing on my list is to remain vigilant about what's going on at the state level and the federal level that directly impacts our institution. There are things going on in Topeka every day, aside from money issues, that will have a profound impact on how our college operates and how teaching and learning is carried out there. And we need to make sure that we're staying abreast of those and doing what we can to influence them.
Thank you.
Thank you. I would also say the president is our number one priority. What I'm looking for in a new president is transparency in budgeting and a proven record of open door communication across all levels of their organization, from the secretary at the front door to the most senior dean of the organization and the vice presidents that work with him or her. I think that is very important to continue that area of trust that we've developed over the past 7 years with Dr. Calloway. Our faculty and our staff has gotten used to a more open feeling, a more open environment, and we want to make sure that that continues. The second thing is funding. As the previous speakers have mentioned, we've cut tens of millions of dollars out of our budget in the past couple of years as a result of decreases in state and federal funding and loss of property valuations here in the county. We have done a very good job, although I still think there is more room to cut. We need to pay close attention to sporting programs and our sponsorships to make sure that our focus is really staying on academic success and student learning. Third, and I've mentioned this in some of my surveys, but I have not mentioned it publicly yet, I think that we can make major strides in student retention by having an honors dorm. I think a lot of parents don't send their kids here because it won't be a traditional college experience. Our budgeting relies on a 3% attrition of students, and that's part of the numbers. Why are we okay with that? I think that's one way that we can keep kids longer and keep them involved and affiliated with the college. Thanks.
Candidate Frost.
Thank you, David. I think 3 things that go without saying are hiring a new president, eliminating waste that's been spoken of here and mentioned in the media, and then obviously working with the business community to understand their needs and what their priorities are. But first I'd look at funding, not only speaking out, but also working to promote College Now and the Quick Step programs for our high school students. College Now, as you may or may not know, is a program in which high school students can learn at a high school and receive college credit. And I think that program, along with the Quick Step program, and I actually have a friend who's been active and involved in educational issues for 10 or 20 years who knew nothing about the Quick Step program until we got into this campaign. and learn that from different sources of ours. But I think promoting those programs would be a wonderful way to bring in revenue with relatively low overhead cost, in addition to speaking out against the cuts in Topeka and the impact that'll have on property owners here in Johnson County. Second, I think we need to work to retain and hire talented teachers and staff at the college. I think we must do that. Any number of schools greatly depend on that to succeed. And then I absolutely agree with Stephanie. I think more could be done for academic retention. I think hiring better staff enables us to better keep students and to keep track of their success rate in terms of graduating in 3 years and moving on to a 4-year school. CNN Money and Washington Monthly, who both have recent, relatively recent reports out analyzing the success rate at colleges, rank Johnson County Community College pretty low, even within the state of Kansas. So those are the 3 things that I would.
Thank you. Well, perhaps this should have been the first question, because several of you have addressed it, but you get another chance. What do you see as the crucial traits for the new college president? And candidate Cook, first up.
Well, I've listed about 6 of them. I've had the privilege of being involved with a lot of selection of teachers and staff. And it seems to me that it's like drilling for oil. If we knew where to drill, we wouldn't do a lot of test holes. So I think it's imperative to have a focus on what we're expecting and what those questions should be. One, I'm looking for a range of situational leadership abilities and tolerances. How can we predict how that leader can change according to the situation of the time and the day? And situational leadership is critical. Creative vision indices, positively impacting the teaching learning resource. What kind of vision does this person have about not just what's going on in teaching learning today, but tomorrow and 5 years and 10 years from now? Commitment to enhancement of the excellent teaching learning culture we have. How can we find what that commitment would be of him or her to sustain that learning culture that we have? Commitment to student outcomes. I've heard it said that we need more student success. Our college has just been named number 2 in the nation for student success and finishing of programs. Fourth, commitment to student outcomes, including program degree completion, public relations intuition, and financial management intuition. Now, the assumption is they'll know about finance, but what's the intuition? What intuitive skills do they have to make sure we look at, here's the product we want to have, and here are the sources of funding we have, and what intuition do they have to make sure they lead us in the right direction? Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Drummond.
Thank you very much. One of the first things that I will be looking for in a new president is somebody who's curious, somebody who's willing to look around, not only at what's here, but what's successful somewhere else, and somebody who has the propensity to be a lifelong learner. Secondly, I would hope that our new president would be somebody very open, very trustful, very respectful, and somebody who truly practices an open-door policy. Thirdly, I believe we need a new president who's very strong in external relations, not just relations in the community here, Johnson County, but is very comfortable in advocating our cause in Washington, D.C., in Topeka, or wherever he or she finds himself. They need to be the chief spokesperson for Johnson County Community College and have the skills, ability, talents, and the propensity to do that. I also believe that they have to have a strong sense of teaching and learning. Not only will they have had experience in the classroom, extensive experience I hope, but also understand what the modern classroom is today and have a sense for empowering faculty, helping them to become better, to grow, providing the adequate resources for them to be all that they can be in the classroom. And finally, I think we want somebody who knows how to create a climate of all the things I've talked about. Somebody who can really facilitate an openness and respectful campus. Thank you.
Thank you, David. I think anytime you're looking for an individual to lead your organization, regardless of the type of organization it is, the first thing that you're looking for is someone with personal and professional integrity. And so that would be the first thing on my list. Specific to Johnson County Community College, I think one of the most important things that we need is someone who has proven leadership in a community college setting. Community colleges are very different from other educational institutions and from private business. You have to have an understanding of the mission of a community college and what makes it work. And so that would be very important to me as well. I think it's important to have someone who has a collaborative leadership style, who will communicate both internally and externally with all of our stakeholders to make sure that we're meeting the needs of the people we serve, and to get input from all of those stakeholders to make sure that we're the best institution that we can be. Our institution is one of innovation, creativity, and it's really essential that our new leader have that same sense of vision, who's able to think outside the box, who's able to look at ways of doing things that may seem unorthodox or different, but isn't afraid to take a chance, try new things, and see what works. And I think most importantly, we need an individual who has a commitment, as Dr. Drummond said, to teaching and learning. That is what we do. That is what we are best at, that's our mission, and that's what our leaders should be committed to.
Thank you. A lot of the same things that have already been said, but one that's really important personally and professionally to me is transparency. I spend my days literally helping voters understand why they should care about this bill or this legislation in Topeka or this issue at their city council level, and helping them make practical decisions based on their kitchen table issues. And we need to do the same thing at the community college. We need to help, we need a leader who can say, this is why economically, academically, this is why Johnson County Community College is the best for your student and for your family. Excuse me. Secondly, I'll be looking at retention rates. I want to see someone with a proven track record of being able to keep students there. We have a lot of students that come to our school for 30 hours and then go on to a 4-year degree, which is great. When they come here first, they do better in their long-term schooling. They have a higher GPA if they start with Johnson County Community College. But we want to keep those students for that 2-year time period, make sure that they have the best bang for their buck academically and economically. The third, I wrote it down, I want to look at the history of tax increases and reserve spending and bond ratings for the institution that this person, he or she, whomever they may be, what's their history at their institution of financial responsibility. I think that will be very important. We have a complicated budget, we have a lot going on, and very high expectations from voters. Thanks.
Thank you. Candidate Cross.
Thank you, David. I also would agree with many of the things that have been said, particularly with respect to student retention and transparency. And I do think that an influence somewhere and an experience with teaching and administration is just vital. Someone that's in this position must absolutely understand the nuts and bolts of teaching and how it applies in the classroom. There are many unhappy people and employees right now at the college, and I think any indication the otherwise is just incorrect. So there's a number of things that we can be doing better with respect to the talent that we have on the ground there and the people that are actually teaching our students. Vision is absolutely important. Understanding the historic role and the number of people who for decades founded this school and have kept it alive is important. So that role must be continued, and the person also must have the ability to learn and listen to the number of different people that we have in the largest undergraduate institution in the state of Kansas. Someone must be able to come in and understand the dynamics of the place, the dynamics of local politics, and understanding with some foresight and anticipation how policies in Topeka will affect us here. If there's something that we see over there that we don't agree with, I think it's important that we speak out, write letters as I see it to the Kansas City Star. It would probably be willing to entertain publishing those, because if leaders on this board speak out, it's absolutely vital that we help educate the citizens of this county to know what's going on in Topeka and at the college.
Thank you.
Well, the new president, I think, should be loyal to the college, meaning that he's not looking as a stepping stone to a better position. He should strive, and by the way, he does not mean gender, it means a general term. Should strive to continue the building of the college through the educational mission as well as the reputation, maintaining the reputation, both nationally and locally. He should be honest. He should have integrity. He should not be a person that expects young yes people around him. In the military, I've had people that expected you to jump when they told you something and not come down until they told you to come down. So he shouldn't be that type of an individual. Finally, I think he should have an open door policy to the staff, to the faculty, and above all, since the board is elected by the taxpayers, he should have an open door policy to the taxpayers. They should be able to come in and ask questions, and he not feel offended because they would have the audacity to cross the threshold of his office. Thank you.
Okay. Candidate Drummond leads off this question. The college is known for its partnerships with businesses and other educational institutions. Please explain your experience in collaborating and creating partnerships and what you would bring to the table in this regard.
Thank you very much, David. I have spent most of my professional career developing partnerships of all kinds and all types. I'm a strong advocate of that concept. I had to do that for the successful experiences I've had in my 2 major jobs at the university and then in a nonprofit organization. A college cannot exist without partnerships. As a community college, we have literally hundreds of partnerships with a lot of stakeholders across the community. We need those. We need to continue to foster those, expand those. They are the conduits to the college to let us know if we are teaching the right things, if we're producing the right kind of workers, if we're providing the right type of academic experience for our transfer students. You perhaps saw in a press release that just came out today that we developed a new partnership with Central Missouri in Warrensburg. That's a partnership with a Missouri side institution that's kind of a reverse transfer relationship with them. It's those kinds of partnerships that we need to continue to develop because it's in the best interest of our community. It is certainly in the best interest of our students. So I'm a very strong advocate of the community college being a full partner with the entire community.
Thank you. Candidate Rayl.
Thank you, David. As I've mentioned before, developing partnerships with our business community is essential to our accomplishment of our mission at Johnson County Community College. If we can't produce a qualified workforce, then we're not doing what we need to be doing to be the economic engine of our community. And so in direct response to your question, I think my answer will be a little bit unorthodox, but I'll give it a shot. I haven't spent a lot of years sitting on boards and governing bodies of public or private corporations, but I did spend 20 years as a police officer. And about a third of the way through my career, this innovative policing technique called community-oriented policing came about. And the whole object of community-oriented policing was to go out into the community and develop partnerships with the citizens and the businesses and everybody that was a part of the community and work together to try to resolve issues that were going on in the community, whether they be criminal or quality of life issues. And I was a manager, supervisor, an administrator, and a police academy instructor on those techniques, those ideas, and it was one of the parts of the job that I enjoyed the most. Going out and talking to the people who lived in my community and the businesses who were thriving there and find out what we could do to help them be better and help our community be a better place. So that would be my response.
Thanks. I think I'm going to address business relationships from a little bit different perspective. My role over the past decade and more has been to develop relationships at a legislative level across the state. Being from Western Kansas and going to school in South Central Kansas has certainly helped with that. But the unique experience that I bring is the ability to translate Johnson County, the golden ghetto, some call it, to help people explain how we are different and the expectations are different. Every year I lead a visit by Leadership Kansas members of the New Leadership Kansas class to Johnson County Community College for a tour. And we were able to exhibit some of the amazing programs that we have that most people don't even know is there. Burlington Northern Santa Fe's National Training Center for Railroad Sciences, things like this that, that make us unique, but also show our humanity. That we have programs that meet the needs of our business community, just like they have programs that meet the needs of their business community, and how our businesses aren't any different when it comes to the things that we want for our families and our communities. That's one way that I build relationships across the state and to help our community college, and hopefully those come to bear fruit throughout the legislative process.
Thank you.
Thank you, David. I do think it's important that we continue to facilitate the success of our students and faculty. They're the ones who have achieved a lot of the success, and we must keep it going. I do think it's vital that we work to keep property taxes as low as possible so that our merchants in the business community have more access to consumer spending so that they can grow and thrive in what's still largely a service economy, but a consumer-driven one. And third, reaching out to the state of Kansas is absolutely vital. I'm glad that we do some of that, but I think we need to do more to build partnerships and establish our humanity and common need. Because while we are blessed here with a tremendous amount of wealth, the rest of the state also has needs that just aren't being met by Topeka and can't be met through their property tax. So we have a certain number of things in common, and we need to work to make sure that when we need something, we're not alone asking for it. I mean, it's been said that when we go to Topeka, Johnson County at any level, we're shot down simply because we're Johnson County. So I think it's absolutely vital and important that we do reach out to the rest of the state of Kansas to build those relationships so that it's not just always our idea, but when we go to help ourselves, our friends maybe first propose the idea. I mean, just as one way to help keep property taxes lower here. And I think it's absolutely vital that we continue the relationships with our established community partners, and that we work to maintain that they understand what we're doing at the college. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. In the true business sense, I have no experience in partnership forming. However, I do believe, and I would encourage the continued partnerships that the college has with the local business world. But from my own point of view, in the Army, my college experience, my various associations, I've had an ability to work with people, bring them together, mediate any problems that we have, and so in that extent, I do have some ability to work with others, to partnership with others, to obtain the proper goal. Now, the one partnership that I have great success in, and I'm very proud of, is the partnership I've had with my wife for 43 years. We've learned how to negotiate between ourselves, how to give and take, and I think I could carry that on into the board. If I'm elected, I could learn. I could be an inspiration to the board for learning to bring things together. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Cook.
Well, to do this in 90 seconds isn't fair, and I'll commit a cardinal sin because as I begin to share some examples, I'm going to leave out as many 12 times over. First off, partnerships are critical to the success of the college. It's been a foundational element of the college, both with the business community and with other universities and other learning institutions. Trustee Sharp mentioned the Burlington Railroad. Not only is that a national program, that's an international program. Training occurs out of Johnson County Community College around the world. The Drummond Museum of Contemporary Art, I would consider, is a partnership, written up in Paris, France, as one of the finest museums of contemporary art in the world. The Rainier Center for Business, you've all been there for events, world class. The Culinary Center, $13 million project, $3 million plus raised by the community as a matching effort. Our program is known throughout the world. this center is going to be just a terrific asset. Our sustainability programs, again, recently recognized as the best in the country for our efforts on sustainability efforts, all in partnership themes. The Research Triangle, many of you were really close to the Research Triangle, were a critical element of that project. Incubator partnerships to business. And then the reverse articulation that Trustee Drummond talked to. Dr. Calloway and this board has done a great job with KACCT and our Board of Regents and with our universities. We now have 45, I believe, approved credit hours for reverse transfer and articulation, saving you as parents a lot of dollars so your students don't have to take those courses over. Significant gains. Partnerships and relationships are critical. We'll continue that with all of our efforts.
Thank you. Next question. Candidate Rayl gets to lead off. How would you recommend the college ensure its students are prepared for careers and future jobs that are not yet defined?
Thank you, David. You know, we just spent a lot of time talking about partnerships, and obviously staying in touch with our business community is a vital piece of making sure that our students are preparing for the careers that are going to be there. I have a fourth grader at home, and her career may not even exist right now because that's how rapidly changing things are in our society. My oldest son, who's a junior in high school, wants to go into engineering. And I have absolutely no doubt that what he's learning today will have little, if any, applicability by the time he graduates from college. And so I think it's essential that we stay attuned to our business community and find out what it is that they're doing, what cutting-edge technologies are they investing in, that they're going to need students as a workforce-ready graduate to be able to perform. And I also would go back to, I mentioned earlier about our collaboration with other academic institutions. And the League for Innovation is an organization, a worldwide organization that takes great effort in staying abreast of what is going on in the world economy to make sure that we're always staying ahead of the curve in terms of developing our academic programs and making sure that our students are workforce ready. And so I would maintain those relationships with the community, think innovatively, think outside the box, and collaborate with other educational institutions.
Thank you.
I would say two of our best assets as a community college is our advisory boards and our pool of adjunct professors. Our advisory boards include hundreds, literally hundreds, of Johnson County taxpayers and industry leaders that represent each various major within the college. And business, economics, you name the area, and we have an advisory board for it. And those people are industry experts. They are business people in the community. They know they're on the very front line of their industry, and they advise us on what classes are out of date, what technologies are new and thriving, what do we need to be working on in terms of curriculum to keep us fresh. We're constantly in communication with those business experts. Secondly, our pool of adjunct professors definitely helps keep us fresh. Our full-time professors are the root of our college. They are what maintains our academic success. In terms of career focus, our adjunct professors, they're the ones that go to work during the day and come to class at night. So they're in the trenches every day helping their employees learn new technologies and new innovations. Then they bring it to our classrooms. So we're very interactive with those parts of the community, and I think that really sets us apart from other higher education institutions and will keep us fresh.
Thank you. Candidate Cross, please.
Thank you, David. I think it's, first of all, let me say, I think Melanie Rayl gave a pretty good answer on this one, and I actually concur with her. It's vital that we maintain relationships and collaborate with existing business leaders and community leaders. But I think it's important that we get students there as quickly as possible. I think we must continue to fund the schools and expose them to different programs so that they have some idea about what's going on in the world. And as Thomas Friedman writes in his book, The World's Flat, it's now a dated book, but he said the success of workers in a global economy depends on their ability to have their head on a swivel. And sometimes are used to think too much in sports. You have to be sort of a middle linebacker watching and seeing everything that's going on. And so too must our workers, and so too must our employers and business leaders, to have some idea about how, as technology changes and industries change, they know what they can do in the world to come. So I think that's critical, that we fund the schools and getting students there as quickly as possible through College Now and through Quick Step. And when elected, I vow to go to orientation night and be at these schools so that our students know what these programs are and that they can get the education that they need as quickly as possible for the least amount of money as possible, and not be trapped in debt, which, oh, by the way, gives them more spending money so they can go spend with our businesses and merchants and work to improve their lives. Thank you.
Thank you. And Candidate Schroder.
To keep up with the businesses, the things that are going on in the businesses are the technology that's going on. As was said before, I think that the school needs to keep in communication with the businesses in the area and out of the area, nationally if necessary, to find out what they're doing, what innovations they're making, and to pass this on to the professors or pass this on to the people that are adjusting the curriculum. As far as the instructors are concerned, they should keep up with the literature in their particular field, how these innovations are occurring and what they're finding that works and what doesn't work. And then finally, I think what they need to do is, as Board Member Rayl said, think outside of the box. Even if it sounds strange or dumb or wild, try it, see if it works, because they know what's coming down the pike, and they should be willing to experiment, if you want to use that word, to find things or to create things for the students so that they're ready for the workforce when they leave.
Thanks, David. I would like to echo what Trustee Sharp said about the advisory committees. And our faculty is heavily engaged with them, and it's a tremendous asset. And I believe we keep current with that kind of partnership and that kind of relationship. I also want to thank the chambers, because each chamber that I'm aware of in Johnson County does a really good job of recognizing new businesses, businesses that are in incubation, businesses that have had success. And when we visit with those companies, they always talk about the environment here for workforce and the culture for the business to grow. And there are tremendous success stories in each of your cities about how that has happened, that symbiotic relationship between the college and those businesses. But beyond that, and again at the risk of not mentioning some, these are specific programs that have received emphasis from the college in the last 5 years. We've launched Achieve the Dream, which is an initiative for student outcomes for them to follow their career path that may be in a career they've already chosen or one that emerges as they go through the program. The Learner Engagement Initiative, how do we get students engaged for program and career completion? The Edible Schoolyard Initiative, the Campus Farm are programs where students get engaged and go on to careers beyond. It's not just in technology and this rapidly changing world. So those kinds of partnerships and relationships are, again, specific examples of what we're doing and will continue to develop.
Thank you. Candidate Drummond.
Thank you very much. I remember very clearly 25 years ago when I held the hand of my youngest son, and we walked into the school, and we walked to his kindergarten class, and I made the transfer of him to his kindergarten teacher. And I began thinking on my way out of the school that more than likely my son Ryan was going to have a job that did not exist at the time he started kindergarten. And that's absolutely true. He now works for Garmin. Garmin did not exist 25 years ago. So we have the same challenge today. And I think I would go back to the last question in terms of responding to this question, and that is partnerships. The deep, woven relationships we have with our community at all levels and all ways is absolutely imperative for us to prepare our students. The second thing I would say is we have been able to support fairly well faculty development. Teaching and learning is what makes this all happen in the future. Helping students be curious, helping students to be lifelong learners, helping students to be able to adapt to the changing times. A lot of that happens in the classroom, in the relationships with the faculty members outside the classrooms. And so it's incumbent upon this board to be able to provide the maximum amount of resources to keep our faculty on the cutting edge. Thank you very much.
Thank you. In the interest of time, we're not going to have any more questions because each of the candidates is going to get a minute and a half to prepare their, or to deliver their closing statements. And we're going to keep the order in the same, so Stephanie, again, you get to lead off.
David. They've received, it's on your.
Did you?
Yeah, they've
I'm sorry.
through their closing statement.
Can you see that? Number 4? Thank you. I'm sorry. Candidate number 4, which is Jerry.
Well, I've been a board member of organizations. I'm currently a board member of organizations. I currently serve on the trustees, as we've discussed. I'm evaluated by a board. I understand the two-way process between a CEO and a board, and I think it's critical that as board members take part in an organization, they clearly understand that role and to develop a culture for effective teaching and learning in this case. I just wanted to clarify a couple of things. A comment has been made that we've got many unhappy employees. We have over 2,000 employees. We have a learning quality committee that I've sat on, a human resource committee I've sat on. We have exit interviews for our employees. And I would disagree that there are many unhappy employees at the college. The feedback we get are that faculty members enjoy being there. They're there for long periods of time. And the feedback we get wouldn't support that. We've been said that tuition has increased dramatically at the college. It has. It's gone up from $58, $58 in 2003 to $84 in 2012. We're among the cheapest tuition rates, though, because Metropolitan Community College is at $92, KU is at $267, K-State's at $244. And so when you look at that balance of funding, which I go back to that we have to really look at, state funding is about 17% of our total budget. Federal dollars are about 42%. Tuition's about 20%. We need to understand that balance of the revenue and continue the great programs. I would ask for your support and consideration, and certainly would appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Drummond.
I've been humbled and honored to serve this first term on Johnson County Community College. As you heard me say earlier, this board has accomplished a lot. In fact, I must say that this board is one of the finest boards I've ever served on. Fortunately, been on many, many boards, and they have accomplished many things. But we know there are many challenges ahead. 3 most significant challenges, most of which have been talked about, is hiring and breaking in a new president. I think a second challenge is helping the new president to select the kind of leaders to fill the slots that are currently available at the upper level administration. And within that context, we have many faculty retirements. And we need to be able to fill those faculty retirements with outstanding faculty members and to keep the current faculty members that we have at this point in time. Secondly, the board will need to continue to focus on external funding sources in Topeka, in Washington, D.C., through the granting process, through other means that are available to us with private foundations. Dr. Cook mentioned some of those prizes, if you will, that we received just recently. We need to up the ante on that as much as we possibly can. Finally, there are many current and emerging issues. Healthcare reform. We've had discussions on the board about the impact on our community college, and it's going to be significant, and we have to wrestle with that quite a bit. State funding, federal funding, all of those are things that we're going to have to work with, and within that context, we need to continue to have top-tier faculty, which means increasing salary and benefits. And as Dr. Cook said, I would enjoy you voting for me and us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Candidate Rayl.
Thank you, David. I had the privilege of being appointed to the board in 2008, and then the citizens of Johnson County elected me to retain that seat in 2009. Most recently, my colleagues on the board gave me the tremendous honor of sitting as chair of the board. And I believe that over the past 4 or 5 years that I've been a part of the board, We've done a very good job of taking care of your tax dollars and ensuring that Johnson County Community College has remained one of the best colleges in the country. We have, over the past 5 years, maintained the mill levy while everyone around us has raised it in an effort to deal with the economic downturn. We looked at both sides of the ledger. We made cuts where we could make cuts. We've been very responsible in the way we've managed the tax dollars and the way that we've maintained the programming at the college. I would concur with what my colleague Dr. Drummond has said. It has been my privilege to serve with one of the finest groups of people that I've ever been acquainted with. We have a tremendously talented board, but make no mistake, we disagree. We disagree often, we disagree robustly, and at the end of the day, we do what we believe is right for the institution. And I would appreciate your vote on April 2nd when you go to the polls so that I can continue to make the right decisions for the right reasons for the right college. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's easy to come in front of this group and talk about generalities, to talk about how we need to do this and we need to do that, to learn about the community college, various aspects of the administration of the college, the faculty, the educational process, and the ongoings of our budget from what we say, those who've been on the board up here. It's easy to get involved because you want to put your name on a ballot. It's not easy to cut $20 million out of budgets. It's not easy to raise tuition because we're trying to make ends meet. I would say that for the most part, our opponents have said nothing different, said they would do nothing different from what we have done. They have agreed with us for the most part on nearly every point that we have made. If you truly care about the college, historically, you would vote in more than one spring election for the board that runs that college. I would reiterate the value that Chair Melody Rayl, Chair Rayl as we call her, you're just getting it, I know, Trustee Drummond and Trustee Cook and myself bring to the board. And I would say the overall message here is if it ain't broke, don't break it. I'd appreciate your support on April 2nd.
Thank you. Candidate Cross.
Thank you, David. Thank you to the Committee on Public Policy and all of you for being here today. I greatly appreciate it. Johnson County means a lot to me and my family. It helped me climb out of poverty. It helped us leave a mobile home park and be one of the first people in our family to own an actual home. And what the college means to me, and I've had the privilege to frankly work all over the country, returning to Kansas in 2008, is really difficult to describe. And I'm grateful to be here before you today, and I'm absolutely a lawyer today because of this college, because of what it was able to do for my parents and for my brothers and me, and I'm so grateful that it's here. And we have so many relationships with everyone in the business community and in the private sector to maintain the success that the students and faculty have at the college. It's critical that we do improve the funding for the college. It's easy to say you're against raising the mill when at least one member of this board Friday night at our first forum admitted that there's a good likelihood that it may be raised. It's easy to say that you're against cutting funding from the state, but then what does that leave us? Where do we get the money that's going to allow us to maintain these relationships and maintain the partnerships that we need to continue this economic engine? So while tuition has gone up dramatically, an important factor there left out largely from the discussion today is that state funding was cut 10% in that time. So again, where will the money come from? And there's any number of things I'd like to address here, particularly promoting College Now and Quick Step, maintaining our public and private partnerships, and I'd appreciate your vote April 2nd.
Thank you. Candidate Schroder.
If elected, and I would appreciate your vote, I will work for fiscal responsibility, and I will work for reducing or freezing at least, and possibly reducing the tuition and the mill levy, if possible, again, like I said. The tuition, granted, is one of the lowest in the state, but that's no reason to raise it. We're going to lose, if the bill goes through, we're going to lose $886,000 from the state funds. However, we have over $109 million in the bank right now, the college does. So there is no justification for raising tuition or asking for more money from the taxpayers, who are your bosses anyway. So I would reduce those. And also, like I said, the tuition is the lowest in the county, lowest in the state, but I would be also against, or I would push for the bill in the House right now to eliminate the funding or the in-state tuition for illegal aliens. The county, the out-of-state funds, or out-of-state tuition is $197, and that includes visa holders. Visa holders are referred to as permanent or pending permanent residents. So I appreciate your vote.
Thank you. On behalf of the Johnson County Public Policy Council and all of the attendees, please join me in thanking our candidates for their time today.